close to home. Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft, joined as always by Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, happy to have you back with me once again to go through all the latest in the greater West Bloomfield area.
What's up, Tyler? Happy to be here per usual. We got a lot to talk about always, man, and happy to get straight to it, man. Another day, another opportunity.
Yes, there's a lot going on in the greater West Bloomfield area. Our top story to begin the show today is what happened overnight on Monday, really early on this morning on Tuesday, an incident around Square Lake Road in West Bloomfield between St. Joseph and Pine Ridge Road, where a box truck had been spilling some oil out onto the street that led to a road closure overnight in the Square Lake Road area, and there continues to be a lot of caution encouraged out there at this time, as you see some pictures from WXYZ TV's Ryan Marshall that he posted on X earlier on this morning. Joining us now to talk a little bit about the situation out at Square Lake Road and what the residents of our community and those coming through greater West Bloomfield should know at this time is Deputy Police Chief and Public Information Officer Dale Young with the West Bloomfield Police Department. Deputy Chief, thank you for being with us.
Yes, and good morning to you, Tyler. So I'd like to start off addressing the fact that overnight we had the West Bloomfield Fire Department hazmat team out. They did an initial assessment of that oily substance, and they were able to determine that it is not harmful, not flammable. As far as what the actual substance is, we don't know at this time.
All right, and so that brings up a number of different questions. We have some idea of what happened last night. It is alleged that there was some truck that was leaking this substance. Is there any indication of was this accidental? Was this something where there was an emergency and this had to be? How did this, from your understanding at this time, how did this happen?
While information is still limited at this time, it's an ongoing investigation, but our preliminary look into this is likely leading to be intentional.
And so with that being the case, and with the road still being under very slick conditions from this oily substance, as you said, it's not entirely certain what that substance is. However, it has been determined that it's not a toxic substance at this time. What caution should be taken by residents in West Bloomfield, and especially even those that are traveling through our community for their commute to work today or other activities in West Bloomfield Township?
Well, because the cleaning efforts are still ongoing, as you showed some of those pictures, the absorbing material that we're using needs time to do its job. So we're asking residents and people that are visiting or traveling through West Bloomfield that if they can find alternative routes to do so, but if they have to drive through the area, to use extreme caution, do what they can to avoid driving through the absorbing material, because that's going to be sitting right on top of that slick substance.
And this is at Middle Belt Road, just just around Square Lake, really at Square Lake and Middle Belt Road in West Bloomfield Township. We got a map we can put up there, Calvin. As you can see, this is in a residential area, but there are some alternative routes for people to get into those residential areas. As you see around Mid-Pine Road, just to the south of that area, you can get into either St. Joseph or Pine Ridge, which is right at that affected area from Square Lake. So it is a relatively small area that's affected of road, but luckily that's the good thing about this, is that there are ways around that. However, Deputy Chief, if people do need to drive through that area, is there an opening at this time? Is that road still remaining fully closed as it was overnight?
No, it is open, it is passable, but we're still urging caution when people are going through there. And also, Tyler, I'd like to also let people know that if they have any information regarding this incident, that we're encouraging them to contact Detective Foster, and the phone number for him is 248-975-8926. Again, that's 248-975-8926. Any information would be helpful at this time.
248-975-8926. Detective Foster leading the investigation on this. Dale Young is the Deputy Police Chief and Public Information Officer with the West Bloomfield Police Department, joining us on the Splash Live as we talk about an incident that happened around 1 a.m. where a substantial amount of an oily substance was discovered on Square Lake Road in the area of St. Joseph and Pine Ridge Road, which are two residential streets just to the west of the Square Lake Road and Middle Belt intersection in West Bloomfield. Again, as the Deputy Chief said, the road is open at this time. However, there are slick conditions. You should be very careful or avoid that area if at all possible, and continue to follow along with us and with the West Bloomfield Police Department for updates. Their Facebook page is at West Bloomfield PD. Deputy Chief, at this time, do we have any understanding of a possible timeline for when we could see the road reopen in full or in regular safe condition?
Fortunately, I wouldn't be able to speculate on that at the moment. I can just tell you that the absorbing material is continually being assessed to see when, in fact, we can open the roadway fully.
All right. We will do our best to keep the community updated as well on this. We'll keep in contact with your team at the police department. Thank you very much for your time this morning. You know, it's been a busy day so far for you.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. West Bloomfield PD on Facebook. And again, that phone number, Detective Foster, if you have any information, if you were in the area, if maybe you have a Ring camera on your address or your business or another place nearby that, or some other device that may have captured some of this footage, Detective Foster is leading the charge at West Bloomfield Police Department, 248-975-8926. Kevin, a really good time for people also to understand that they have options for getting more public safety information from throughout our community. Of course, Oak Alerts through the Oakland County Emergency Management Department, and then Nixle, which is actually how I got this alert overnight. I saw it when I was on my way in this morning. I had a text message from 3:30 in the morning alerting to a road closure in West Bloomfield. That's from Nixle, which is at NIXLE.com. You can put in your zip code or a number of other zip codes and get those free alerts. However, of course, standard text messaging and data rates will apply on them if that is part of your plan. But a good idea to sign up for those alerts to get these as soon as you can. And of course, to keep up to date with your public safety departments when an incident like this happens.
Yeah, Tyler, that's great information to hand out immediately, especially for people's morning commute. It could be just a small portion of the community, or a side road is what they would call it, but someone has to travel down that road, and it's probably part of their regular routine. So it's good that we let everyone know in case of that. And man, just finding out that it could be intentional too that raises eyebrows too. So, thank you to the West Bloomfield Police Department and Officer Dale Young for doing their due diligence to get out there and get the community informed and solving that problem. That's crazy.
And of course, as the Deputy Chief said, that there's not a full indication at this time of whether or not it was intentional or accidental. That is still under investigation. We'll keep you updated as we learn anything else on that front. On a more positive note, it's always a good time to honor our medical professionals helping us here in our communities and beyond each and every day. And that includes some of those medical professionals with pause. Reporter Jake Schaff has the story.
Hospitals aren't typically known as the warmest of places, as they come with both a lot of sickness and a lot of sadness. But the great people here at Henry Ford Hospital in West Bloomfield know exactly how to put smiles on their patients' faces, all with the help of some furry friends. With the Sally and Bob Goldman Therapy Dog Program, doctors and nurses bring eager and energetic dogs all over the hospital to warm up their patients and to help make their days just a little bit brighter.
The Goldman Therapy Dog Program is in the West Bloomfield Hospital. It's in the hospital downtown and in several other Henry Ford facilities. The job of the program is basically to lift the mood of the room. It's for patients, it's for staff, it's for visitors into the hospital. And again, the whole idea is when people come to a hospital, there's not a lot of great things happening. They're in the hospital because they're not feeling well, or they're in the hospital to visit a loved one. The idea is to just give them a few moments to feel much better, to boost their morale, to bring a smile, to bring some calm into their day. I was just in a room prior to this with a therapy dog, and the mom said, you know, I would come to this hospital just because I know the dogs are going to be there.
How many dogs do you have with the program?
The program currently has 8 dogs that are owned by the program, and to add to that, we have owner-handled dogs, of which we have 41. We have George, who is about 5.5 years old, who is a golden retriever. And we have Josie, who is a yellow lab. She's also about 5 years old. So they're seasoned veterans. They know their way around the hospital, and they both have huge fan clubs in the hospital. They've been here for a while, and it's not unusual to be walking down the hallway to have somebody chase you down to say, wait, I haven't seen George or I haven't seen Josie yet today.
How does that morale help people with the other things they're dealing with, whatever those may be in the hospital?
Anytime you have a respite, a moment of morale boost, a moment to smile, it lasts a lot longer than the moment that you have it. Plus, if you want to get technical, heart rates go down, blood pressures go down, endorphin levels go up, which is kind of the happy hormone. Cortisol goes down, which is something that you get with stress. So it has a lot of physiological benefits as well. It's one of those ultimate win-win situations. The dogs win, they get loving. The people win because they're not being judged and they had a moment to smile and feel better. A parent feels better because maybe their child who's in the hospital smiled for the first time today. So it really has a wonderful ripple effect.
It's almost as if the dogs are like the secret additional doctors of the Henry Ford Hospital.
It really is. I tell people the dogs are like the doctors. They make people feel better. The only difference is you don't get a big bill at the end. It's for free. They never judge. They're happy to see you no matter if your hair isn't looking so good that day, if your makeup isn't straight that day. They're just happy to see you. They're not judging. They're just there to make you feel better. And let's face it, we can all use a little bit of that.
Such a wonderful cause and such adorable dogs. I'm almost tempted to try to sneak one of them out myself. Maybe they won't notice. But these dogs are truly some of the lesser-known heroes of the Henry Ford Hospital in West Bloomfield, and it's only fair for these dogs to finally have their day. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Excellent report. Thank you so much for that, Jake. And really just lifts your spirits right away out of the gate, seeing that, Kevin. Just seeing the dogs interacting with people in the hospital, knowing the situations people are going into those hospitals for and how that can lift their spirits, including our healthcare workers each and every day who are going into often mysterious environment that can be very high stress. That moment of relief can be really critical.
I think this is a testament to energy and vibrations and frequency, Tyler, if you ask me personally, because we all have different energies and frequencies that we bring within certain, even environments have certain frequencies and energies. So to kind of pull that together with animals and, you know, just basically say we can't explain it. We just know people feel better. They're a lot calmer. Their heart rate is lower because they're around these dogs. I think that explains it right there, man. I love to see stuff like that.
Yeah, it's great not only for lifting our spirits on that day, but for improving our mental health overall, especially when you're in a tough scenario like being in a hospital for a number of different reasons that you may be there. And it's the perfect time of the year to be focusing on our mental health and having those sometimes difficult conversations, but important conversations to have with professionals as we address our minds and our thoughts each and every day, Kevin.
Yes, Tyler. Mental Health Awareness Month is observed every year, pretty much during the month of May, to raise awareness about mental health issues and also reduce the stigma behind mental health. And there's no better time to talk about it and have a professional on the Splash Live to join us and talk about it. We have clinic director and psychotherapist from Ellie, excuse me, mental health, Suzanne Taylor, joining us on the Splash Live to talk about mental health awareness. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be
Absolutely.
here.
Absolutely, Susan. So we're talking about mental health, very, very important. Everything starts right here. So just give us a little bit of information about your organization, your establishment mission when it comes to mental health and helping clients there.
Thank you so much. Um, Ellie Mental Health in Novi and West Bloomfield. Our mission is really to eliminate stigma.
Mm-hmm.
We really want to make stigma a thing of the past, that, people can think about mental health and asking for help, uh, just like we do anything else during the course of our day without giving it much thought.
Yeah,
One of the things that I think is really important is that people reach out much quicker, much sooner, and there would be a lot less suffering as a result of that if they could do that every day.
I agree. I agree. And we've been hearing the phrase mental health a lot more in the recent, I'll probably say 10 years than I have in my entire life. So I feel like that alone is just letting us know everyone as a community, as a consensus, we're starting to be more aware of it. Know that mental health is just important as our physical health also. So what are some ways people can kind of, I don't know, gauge their mental health to see where they are, to see if maybe I should go talk to someone, or maybe I am good, or seek some resources. What advice would you give for that?
Well, our heads are attached to our bodies. So
Mm-hmm.
we're really thinking about whole person wellness, whole person health.
Correct.
One of the things that I think has been happening for a long time, which we are working on improving and changing,
Mm-hmm.
is to have people reach out and ask for help long before it gets to be where they are really truly impaired. By impaired, I mean they struggle with taking care of their families, sleeping, taking care of themselves, uh,
Mm.
problems working, having problems in their relationships, all those sorts of things. Kevin, when you think about the way to get help and to be independent, and people want to solve their own problems, the way to
Mm.
do that is to really ask for help long before it becomes such an issue that you are extremely impaired. I frequently use a story about, look, if you want to be independent and you don't either have a lawnmower or you don't know how to mow your lawn, you're going to get somebody to help you with that.
That's
Uh,
correct.
if you need groceries, you're either going to, if you can't do it yourself, you're going to get someone else to get groceries for you, use the grocery services, all these sorts of things. We don't even think about that kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
because we need it, and we want to be able to live our lives to the fullest without even thinking about, gee, if I ask for help with groceries, what does that mean about me?
Right.
And that's what stigma
Right.
does, Kevin, as you
Mm-hmm.
know,
It's a good
with
point.
mental health issues. Exactly. So I really think that don't wait.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't wait to ask. You know yourself better than anyone. You're the
Correct.
expert on yourself. And you know when things are off,
Mm-hmm.
things are not working well for you, you're
Mm-hmm.
not feeling well, you may be having, there's also a lot of physical symptoms with mental health issues.
Yeah.
So listen to that and,
Correct.
reach out and see if there's something that's happening uh, now that you can deal with, just like you would deal with getting groceries or getting
Right.
your lawn mowed or whatever the case may
Mm-hmm.
be. you're going to suffer a lot less. And I don't know about you, but it's really sad and terrible to watch people suffer for so
Correct.
long.
Yeah, yeah, and it starts right there in the mental, like we said. Like even if it gets out to the physical, it starts there. So you have to really go to the root, and you have to go like at the beginning of when you start to see the signs. Like you said, you know yourself better than anyone else. So I completely agree. Joining us right now on the Splash Live, clinic director and psychotherapist Susan Taylor from the Ellie Mental Health in Novi and West Bloomfield. Great information about Mental Health Awareness Month in the month of May. We're talking about. I want to talk about your services at your establishment specifically, but before we get there, because that's when we're going to the professional help. But I know you mentioned trying to do everything ourselves, but when we're just trying to find just many ways to kind of cope with our mental health, maybe we don't want to go to the doctor every single day, every single moment. What are some little things that we can do in our daily lives to kind of help with that? I talk to myself a lot. People would think it's crazy. I call it thinking out loud. I literally have a segment that I do called thinking out loud. I like to just have my ideas expressed, and that helps me. Can you just please give some ideas, please?
Love that. I do that myself.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
think that's a fabulous coping strategy.
Mhm.
And if you don't want other people to hear you or be a part of the conversation, you can talk to yourself in the car
There you go. Exactly.
and with no one else in the car. You
Mhm.
can certainly do that. Um, think of coping strategies that help you. It's individual for most people. However, some general kinds of coping strategies, everyone says take time for yourself and things like that. Well, what does that mean specifically for you? Because
Mm,
I'm betting, Kevin, it's different for you than it would be for me and everyone
correct.
else.
Yeah.
So, coping strategies are really a very big deal in whatever it is that you're going through. You don't have to minimize the coping strategies that may work for one situation when you have a brand new situation.
Mm,
So sometimes people think, oh, that won't work for that. I say give that a try first, and then let's see
exactly.
what's happening at that time.
And
The
don't
other
knock it
thing,
until you try it. Yep. I'm sorry.
that's
Go ahead.
right. That's right. Don't knock it till you try it. I think the other really big thing is supports.
Mm,
We cannot minimize the importance of having supports in our lives, whether it's family, friends, all those sorts of things. And it doesn't mean you have to have 100 supports. It can be that one or two people that listen to you, that just hear you as you are, um, can help you with whatever your issue is, help you to think about it in a way. It's not just talking to yourself, it's talking with someone else who can listen to you, that really cares about you. That has a lot of meaning and really helps people get more grounded, feel like they can tackle this, whatever
yeah.
the case may be.
Yeah. No, no. Good, solid point. Someone you can confide in and just vent and rant to, with no judgment. Completely understand. Susan, thank you so much again for your time. Lastly, before we go, can you just give people some information about Ellie Mental Health, how they can reach out to you if they are interested in any of the resources that you provide?
Yes, we have therapists that work with everyone across the lifespan and every issue. You
Mhm.
can contact us easily. There's probably a number here below. I can't see it, but but uh, but you can certainly do that. You can reach out to me. You can even say you saw me on Splash. So
Hey,
there you go,
there we
and
go.
just start right there, and we'll
Mhm.
take it from there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for your time. Susan Taylor, clinic director and psychotherapist for Ellie Mental Health in Novi and West Bloomfield, talking about Mental Health Awareness Month. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is what we love to do, Tyler. Especially, I'm an advocate for mental health and mental health awareness because I know it's a popular topic and phrase now, Tyler, but ultimately it is for a reason because we're all becoming more conscious of the value of our mental health, Tyler. And it was great to talk to Susan about it.
Yeah, and it's becoming more recognizable just how much of an impact this has in every facet of our daily life, whether it's individually or collectively in our workplaces, in our family life, in our extracurricular activities. When you know the impact that someone's mental health can have on their day-to-day life and what it can have on your day-to-day life, that can not only makes it more of an emphasis for you and for others in our community. And so it's good to know we have some resources locally, even right down the road from us here in West
Correct.
Bloomfield, that you can turn to
Right.
in those events. Kevin, it's also that time of the year where we're getting back outside, more activities out in the yard and around the community, people getting outside. We'll be on the lakes. We'll be celebrating the holidays coming up as well. But that also means they're inviting new hazards potentially into their life for the spring and summer seasons. So here to join us to give us some advice on some tips and tricks for preventing fires and other hazards in your yard and around town this time of the year is our West Bloomfield Fire Marshal, Byron Turnquist. Thank you for being with us, Byron.
Thanks, Tyler. How are you this morning?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good, good. Happy to be back.
Yeah, happy to have you on to talk about this. It's an exciting time of the year for people as we're getting the sunshine back, the warmth is back. We're getting people out and about in our community. Already seen so many people getting ready to prepare their yards for the spring and in the summer season and get ready for some celebrations with their family. But as I said, so many of those occasions do come with some specific hazards. And this time of the year, what are some of the more common hazards we see pop up in the greater West Bloomfield area?
Well, right now we've got a lot of people out doing their spring cleanup in their yards. You want to be careful while you're climbing a ladder if you're trying to clean out your gutters or trim the brush away from your house as that grows. Real important. Last fall, the township adopted a new ordinance which will allow recreational campfires, recreational fires. And the key thing to keep in mind there is that does not allow the change in that ordinance does not allow burning of that yard waste that you're cleaning up this spring.
Right, and that does also come along with some other specific regulations as well. If you are going to have a fire in your yard, there are certain rules for distance and how that is attended to. Can we just have another brief overview of that for those that maybe have heard of that change in the ordinance recently on this program, but are now, or maybe perhaps are hearing for the first time as they get ready for those summer activities?
Yeah, we want people to be able to enjoy their yard, be able to enjoy the outside. The township ordinance provides allowing for a recreational fire in a commercial fire pit or a fire ring that's installed in your yard. It needs to be 15 feet away from combustibles on your yard or on your property. So that means away from sheds, fences, decks. You want to keep that away from anything that's combustible. And then it needs to be 25 feet away from anything combustible on your neighbor's yard. So there are some restrictions, but the restrictions are, all in an effort to try to keep everybody safe and happy and be able to enjoy a small recreational fire in your yard.
And we know that a recreational campfire is kind of a staple of the spring and the summer months in the state of Michigan, but that also comes with its own sort of hazards, and especially even if you're grilling or you're cooking, perhaps even on that fire itself. So as we get to that point of the year where we're seeing these campfires come up, more people going out and using their grills, what are some potential dangers that do pop up and are not necessarily common in our area, but can commonly be faced by somebody if they're not taking that preventative action?
Well, just like when you're cooking in your kitchen, we recommend that you never leave that unattended. It's the same thing when you're using your grill on the deck. Actually, we recommend you don't use your grill on the deck, but most people will. Keep it away from the house. Make sure it's away from vinyl siding. Make sure that it's away from any combustible furniture. And the important thing is to be prepared. Have a fire extinguisher handy and make sure you don't leave that grill unattended. Just when you think you're going to run inside and get the meat to throw on the grill, you get that telephone call. You forget that the grill's running, and it's just very important that if you do have that grill operating, to keep an eye on it. Stay out there with it.
Plenty of more helpful tips on their Facebook page at WB Fire Department. That's WB Fire Department on Facebook, or you can go to wbtownship.org and navigate to the fire department for their non-emergency number to ask any questions you may have as well. Joining us is the Fire Marshal for the West Bloomfield and Tri-City Fire Departments, Byron Turnquist, on today's edition of the Splash Live. This time of the year, it's also severe weather season. We expect to have plenty of thunderstorms in the coming months that could potentially knock out our power or disrupt power in our communities. And with that, people turn to their generators. But there's also some hazards that come along with running a generator as well. As people get ready to get those generators out during some of our severe weather portions of these upcoming seasons, what should they be keeping in mind?
Well, start off with the basics. Before the storm hits, get that generator out and make sure that it operates. Make sure that you can start it. I always hate to be without power and you go to fire up that generator for the first time in a long time and it doesn't work. But when you're using the generator, just like with a grill or a fireplace, you want to keep it away from anything combustible. Move it out away from your house. Make sure you keep it away from any doors or windows, any avenue that would allow the exhaust, or more importantly, carbon monoxide to enter your home. And then it's also a very helpful tip that when you refuel it, I know it's a little inconvenient, but when you refuel it, shut it down, let it cool for a while, and before you put gasoline back in the generator. I hate to spill some gasoline on a hot exhaust pipe and create a fire and damage the generator and make the day even worse.
Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind as we get ready for potentially some power outages this time of the year with severe weather. Another thing we commonly see with that severe weather that comes in, high winds, thunderstorms, and the like, are downed debris that lands on our power lines or in our yards, or even some downed power lines that happen this time of the year as well. Really important, Byron, that people understand what to do if a power line goes down in their yard or in their neighborhood, they encounter that. What steps should people take if they encounter a downed power line?
First thing, stay away from it. Stay clear. If it's down in your backyard or on your side of your house, stay away from that down power line. Make sure that you're not touching any fences or sheds or any play structures that power line might be in contact with, because we don't want somebody to accidentally get electrocuted from a line that might be down 50, 75 feet away, but it's laying on that fence that's running alongside your driveway. So keep that in mind. Keep any pets from going in the yard anywhere near that power line as well. DTE has been working tirelessly trying to make the process better. It's never fun when we have power outages and storms. Everybody wants their power restored first, but they're working through the neighborhood or through the Metro Detroit area when a storm comes through. Just the other couple of weeks ago, power went out in my neighborhood. I've got the app on my phone for DTE. You can report it right on your phone. They'll send you text updates. That will do well, or they do a good job with that. And then it's always, you can call 911 and get us out there. We can tape the area off. We can enter that into their queue to get the downed wire replaced. Just because we're out there, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be faster, but we can help tape off an area to prevent people from going into that yard or going near the wire.
Yeah, that's another really good piece of advice. If you see that down power line, it's better to assume that nobody yet has called 911 about that than to not call 911 and potentially have other people in your area or traveling through that same area possibly encounter that power line. So on top of taking, of course, first and foremost, those safety precautions to prevent yourself from being potentially injured or killed by these downed power lines, to also take action to help others in the community as well. You can learn more information with helpful safety tips for the spring and summer seasons on the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield Fire Department at WB Fire Department. Joining us is Byron Turnquist, the Fire Marshal for the West Bloomfield and Tri-City Fire Departments, on today's edition of the Splash Live. Byron, before we let you go, anything else that we commonly see take place this time of the year, or other safety tips that really do come into play throughout the spring and the summer months that people in our communities should be keeping aware of?
Well, one thing, we see it in the wintertime when people are using their fireplaces, and we'll see it again in the spring and summer while people start using their grills. When you're cleaning out your grill or cleaning out your fireplace, make sure that you don't take those coals that may still be hot and put them in a plastic garbage can inside your garage or anywhere near your house. You really want to make sure that those coals are cool, not holding heat. They can hold heat for a couple days. Make sure they're cool. Put them in a metal can away from the house. Let them sit for even a little while longer before you throw them in the garbage can to dispose of them properly.
Yeah, some cool water, some shifting them around too also will help to kind of disperse the heat that they have on them also. All great advice from our friends at the West Bloomfield Fire Department. Byron, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Tyler. Have a great day.
Yeah, you as well. And always happy to have that sage advice from our friends at the West Bloomfield Fire Department, because this time of the year, a lot of people are getting out and about and are being more active in their homes and in their yards. And so it's a really important time to take those safety precautions before you ever bring your lawnmower out and start tending to your yard, or before you bring out the grill and put the gas on it and get ready to cook up some dinner. To take these steps first, Kevin, because ultimately safety has to be paramount, especially with some of these new rules in our community too. When we think about the burn ordinance being changed for people to have these little fires also in their yards too. Safety is always number one.
What would Smokey the Bear say, man? That's all I think about. I'm from that generation, Tyler. I'm not about to make Smokey the Bear mad. Hey, listen. Fire Marshal Turnquist said, don't barbecue on that deck. I know you just got it built. Take it to the grass, take it to the driveway or something. It's not best that you do that. So I completely understand a lot of the stuff that he was saying. Some of it, it just makes sense. But thanks for that information, Fire Marshal Turnquist. Great story and interview, by the way, too, Tyler.
Yeah, that safety will allow you to do all those fun activities with your friends and with your family and make some memories this spring and this summer, all while doing so very safely. West Bloomfield Fire Department's Facebook page, again, for more information, is at WB Fire Department. Plenty more people making memories lately and achieving some major accomplishments, including our students over at West Bloomfield High School. Their DECA program continues to have a massively successful year, and they recently attended the DECA International Career Development Conference in California. Two of their students that attended that conference are joining us now on The Splash Live. I'm Marina Crico and Sophia Zolob are with us on The Splash. Thank you both for being with us today.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this, because the DECA program has been a successful program at West Bloomfield High School for a number of years. Now you're not only taking that success from the statewide level and the local level, but also nationally and internationally going to this conference. Can you both share just a little bit about your overall experience taking in that conference with so many students from all around the world in California?
It was honestly like such a surreal experience because there was like 23,000 people there. So it was way different than like the states conference, because at the states conference, it was about like 10,000, a little bit less, but it was so surreal because there were so many students and everyone wanted to do the same things. So it was so easy making friends, and it was overall just such a fun experience.
Yeah, it was definitely a good experience to like really expand on like my leadership knowledge and just like building off of that and really like preparing myself for success in the future. It was a great experience.
And Marina, let's start with you. You're a 10th grade student, and so still pretty early on in your high school career, but seeing the success and seeing the development of kids throughout their DECA experience who have maybe been in the program for 4 years, maybe have competed at this level. How did that help to inform the way you approach some of these challenges that you faced going into a very competitive conference like this?
Well, it took hard work and it took teamwork because you have to really stay focused and you have to be prepared when it comes to things like this. It's not something that you can just go into. So it definitely took a lot of hard work, and it was just a fun experience overall. So, yeah.
And Sophia, for you, similar question also, because there was a lot that was going on here. It wasn't just networking with other students or getting to learn some of their experiences in DECA and apply that to yourself, but also to overcome some additional challenges as you faced some of the competition. So how did you kind of mix and match that approach to get the full experience at this international conference?
Yeah, definitely. It did take a lot of hard work and preparation, and I think like courage and boldness and leadership to really like step into this and compete. And yeah.
We know that DECA really does emphasize 21st century learning skills like collaboration and critical thinking. And those are also really similar to the 4Cs we hear about so often when we talk to people in the curriculum side of the West Bloomfield School District. So now how does the DECA program help you both as students to sort of build off of some of these skills that you're being taught in the classroom each and every day?
I've honestly learned a lot from DECA. It's not something that you can just go into easily. That's what I've learned. I've learned that hard work can get you wherever you want to go. So learning things like that in marketing kind of led me to get to the international conference. So I think that's what's helped me a lot.
And what initially interested you, Sophia, in joining this program? What were you hoping to get out of it, and what do you feel like you have gotten out of it so far as you wrap up your 10th grade year?
I think I definitely got some really good like business experience for the future and for like potential future careers. It really helped me set up for success for what I really want to go into in the future. And just really like helping me like with skills in the classroom and overall day-to-day life, just becoming more like professional and using leadership and communication skills all throughout my life. Yeah.
And following up on that, why do you feel like that's something that's really important for you to learn now? You still got a ways to go before maybe you're going into higher education or going into the workforce or both. But why now are you already making such an emphasis on developing those skills?
I think it's good to start early to definitely know what you want to go into from a young age and definitely just like preparing, starting now. So in the future, it becomes a lot easier and things come a lot easier now since I've learned how to do them.
And how has, Amarin, how has the DECA program at West Bloomfield High School, the way that it's run, that Julie Zala and others that are running this program and are supporting this program, how do they help to bring you along in that sense? Because these are skills that are tough for adults to pick up, let alone for kids that are studying each and every day in the classroom, have long, early days of learning, and then go into this as an extracurricular.
It honestly, Ms. Zala and Miss Allen, they're great teachers. They've helped me so much. And I think that I have always loved like business, and my event in DECA was leadership and teamwork, and I've always loved leadership. So I think that's what's helped me get to where I am.
We'll go through this with both of you as we have a couple more minutes with you. I'm Marina Creco and Sophia Zola were with us from the West Bloomfield High School DECA program, who just got back from an international conference, the International Career Development Conference, which was in California over the last couple of weeks. They were out there while also getting ready for the end of their school year. So busy time of the year for your students. And as you wrap up this year, as you head into your upperclassman phase of your high school career, what advice do you have for students that are maybe coming into West Bloomfield High School next year or already in the high school and maybe are interested in DECA? What advice do you have for them on getting the most out of this program like you two have so far?
I would say definitely join DECA and join a business class because you get to meet so many new people and you get so many opportunities to build these new skills that will help you in the future for professional business and interviews and all those like future skills that you need. Definitely come in with a positive mindset, give it your all, try everything, try your best, and yeah.
Well, we'll let you two get back to the classroom. We can already see a lot of business happening behind you and plenty more to learn throughout your day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate having both of you on. You can learn even more about the West Bloomfield High School DECA program on their Facebook page at West Bloomfield High School DECA, West Bloomfield High School DECA. And of course, get updates on all of their accomplishments and other students' accomplishments throughout the West Bloomfield School District every day. Facebook.com/West Bloomfield Schools or on WBSD.org. Kevin, such impressive students we have at West Bloomfield High School in this DECA program. Already seems like they're ready to go out in the workforce. And these two that were with us today, just in 10th grade.
That was great. Just looking at the pictures, first and foremost, I wanted to go. They went to Disney World and all types of places, man. I'm like, oh my goodness. But the fact that they went out there on business and took care of business, they even got a couple of recognitions for their work that they did out there. I love developing careers, developing these business talents, entrepreneurship early. That is what America is driven on. Small businesses, entrepreneurship. So yes, develop it, keep it going. I love that they have that mindset. Keep pushing that.
Yeah, and the students there, the high school program achieved 10th place in virtual business sports and 12th place in virtual business sports and entertainment among the accomplishments at that conference in California.
Nice.
You know, we saw those pictures. I was convinced when I saw the picture of them in the airport on their way over there. I just love being in the airport, so that's a whole different topic for another day. Kevin, on a more serious note, as we get ready to celebrate Mother's Day, it's a time of the year where we start to think about the health of our mothers, whether our own mothers or mothers that are in our lives each and every day. And a lot of the health screenings that they go through are critical to keeping them healthy for years to come and preventing some major ailments that can have a negative impact on their health.
Yeah, as a male, I'm even curious about it, because it can affect us all, right? Mothers, sisters, siblings, significant others, spouses, and more. And you just want to be educated on it. And you want to see what resources are out there and available, just in case you have to spread that knowledge and information. So joining the Splash Live right now, talking a little bit more about mammograms with women and women's health from Henry Ford Hospital, West Bloomfield. Joining the Splash Live, we have Dr. Saul Nathanson joining us. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor.
Well, thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. So what we are talking about essentially is breast cancer screening, mammograms. There was recently an article that came out from the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force that basically talked about, should women under 40 get mammograms? Can you talk a little bit more about the significance of breast cancer screening and mammograms altogether?
Well, we need to firstly divide women into two major groups. Firstly, those who are at average risk, so that's most of the women. And then we need to think about women who are at higher risk for breast cancer. And those are women who have mostly family histories of breast cancer, and or they have a gene testing done which shows that they've inherited an abnormal gene. So we don't normally recommend mammography or any other breast screening below the age of 40.
Correct.
And this USPSTF study that this report that you've been reporting, really has changed because there's been a conflict between them and everybody else. That everybody else is the American College of Radiology, the Society of Breast Imagers, and the Society of Surgical Oncology, the American Society of Breast Surgeons, and the American Cancer Society. All of us have been saying forever that women with the average risk should start getting mammograms at age 40 and get it every year.
Right.
And the upper limit, there should be no upper limit, whereas the task force says that we should stop at age 74. So the change that has happened with the US PSTF is that now they say, okay, before they were saying start at age 50 and have it every 2 years. Now they're saying start at age 40 and have it every 2 years. So we still think that women should start at age 40 when they have average risk, and they should have it every year. The main reason being that we can diagnose breast cancers at an earlier stage and save a lot of lives. The numbers that have been quoted of saving lives is about anywhere up to 40% if you have a mammogram starting at age 40 and you have it every year. So the US PSTF task force, which unfortunately does not have a lot of breast specialists in it, has been fighting this for reasons that I'm not totally sure about, but maybe it's because they're thinking about cost benefits. So when you're looking at cost benefits, that may make sense, saving bucks, but we're interested in saving lives.
Absolutely.
That we think is more important.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned under 40. We think that every woman by the age of 25 should have a calculation and assessment of her risk for breast cancer. And currently, the guidelines state that if you have a more than 20% lifetime risk of getting breast cancer as a woman, you should start getting mammograms and other imaging modalities at an earlier age. What age? We think that 30 is a good time to start getting mammograms. Before the age of 30, mammograms are not all that valuable because women have dense breasts, and it's not easy to diagnose with the X-rays. But there are other ways to image, such as magnetic resonance imaging or MRI. So we usually start at age 25 with MRIs in women who are at higher risk.
That's interesting because I wouldn't think too much about obviously breast cancer and mammograms and things of that issue. Obviously, with me being a male, but like you said, it obviously is breast cancer is the second most common cancer among U.S. women. So it is a very common issue that we must start to tackle immediately. And like you said, if you are at risk, a higher risk, I think you said 20% or more of possibly getting this diagnosed with cancer, then you should start possibly getting screening even a little bit earlier. Just starting to go see a doctor or a specialist to find out a little bit more about this. Doctor, just from your perspective overall, what are some different factors that contribute to the variation in breast cancer incidence, especially amongst the different demographics of women? I know you mentioned possibly genetics. Are there any other factors possibly?
Yes, we know that certain lifestyles and certain demographics, particularly women who don't have babies or who start having their families over the age of 30, or who start having their menstrual periods at an earlier age, below the age of 12. So we know that those are important factors that increase the risk. If we look at there is a way of assessing the density of the breasts. Now, density means that when you take a mammogram, there is a way for the radiologist to look at these to say, okay, we have very dense breasts. So there is an association between breast density and increased risk as well. And there are a whole host of factors that add up like that. We know that if you drink a lot of alcohol every day, for example, there's an increased risk.
Right.
For some reason, there's an increased risk if you smoke. And we talk about lifestyle. There's been a lot of information that's come up recently that cross reacts with other factors in life. So, for example, exercise. Everybody talks about how important exercise is.
Correct.
But we now have definitive scientific evidence that exercise, vigorous exercise of more than 150 minutes a week does decrease the risk of breast cancer. So on the other side, if you're obese and you don't exercise and you have a poor diet and you smoke and you drink too much alcohol, those are all factors, even if you don't have a family history of breast cancer, or if you don't have a gene that predisposes you to breast cancer, those are factors, lifestyle factors, that increase the risk of breast cancer.
Yeah, and that would be, I don't want to call it common sense, but common sense isn't common. But those are things that, for the most part, they even have labels to say there's warnings to consuming this alcohol and smoking and things of that nature. So they already tell you those type of risks. But then, like you said, other things, the choices that you make in your diet, going to work out, those all could have an effect on your body and the cancer, the possibility of building up cancer in it. So great information, doctor. We appreciate your time. Last thing, the main thing that I got from speaking with you today is the fact that there could be some conflicting information out there for people when they want to be educated on this. What are some credible sources, or where can they go if they really want to find out credible information, accurate information when it comes to preventative services for breast cancer, mammograms, things of that nature, doctor?
Well, the most obvious is speak to your doctor.
Right.
Doctors are all educated about this, and it's a good idea to do that. There are a lot of, you can Google, go on the internet, go online, Google. The American College of Radiology has a beautiful, very simple cartoon that's easy, and it's done deliberately that way by them, to make it easy for women, even if you're not a genius, even if you're not a physician, you can look at this cartoon and it's very easy to see, steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, very easy to follow, very easy to see, and references that you can look up if you really want to go further and deeper into it.
Okay, great. And that's good to know. Thank you for passing that information for. And just last thing before we go, for the future of breast cancer screening, anything that you foresee in advancement, what do you see for the future of screening for breast cancer in women in this industry?
There's been and I've been in the breast business for a long time. Women are not very happy to get mammograms. They do it many with their teeth gritted because it's a little uncomfortable. They blame me for being a male and having invented it, which I did not. But for years now, there's been a lot of research, and it's ongoing in terms of trying to find new ways to identify breast cancer early. Currently, mammography is the best. What we have on the horizon, which is really happening around the country more and more, is instead of just having a regular mammogram, which takes about 15 minutes, there's now an additional component to that. It's called a contrast enhanced mammogram, where an IV is given, and it takes about another minute or so to get a picture, and the specificity and sensitivity of that test is much better than the 3D mammography that we've been used to using for the last decade or so. So that's one thing. Ultrasonography, there's a lot of research going on and has been going on for a long time. There are lots of technologies that are being used that I won't get into in detail, but these are all in research labs and research places around the country and around the world.
Right.
So it's not standing still. There's a lot of effort to try and find easier and better ways to screen women.
100%. And as we start to, be more developed in technology and research and things of that nature, I only imagine the screening process will get easier. The information part will get easier, and distributing the information will get a lot easier also. Once again, Dr. Saul Nathanson from Henry Ford Hospital, West Bloomfield, joining us talking about mammograms and breast cancer screening right here in the West Bloomfield community. Thank you so much again for your time, sir.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Absolutely, Tyler. That I'm gonna be honest, man. Even though the information may not apply to me specifically, like we were talking about, I have a mother, I have a sister, I have a girlfriend, I have women in my life that I believe should be privy to this information. That information Dr. Nathanson just gave, I'll definitely be passing that forward also.
Yeah, whether you are a woman and are within those age ranges suggested, or even suggested by experts or across the board, or experts like Dr. Nathanson from Henry Ford Health in a varying number of age ranges, it's good to have that information and understand what you're possibly up against, weigh your options, and understand what resources are available to you. And for men like us to check in with the women in our lives to make sure that they are keeping in mind these different tests that, especially on the younger side, they haven't started getting these tests regularly. Their doctors aren't bringing it up because they're not within that age range. An important conversation to have. Kevin, a lot of our kids getting outside and learning this time of the year. Now they got with the better weather outside, the sunny weather, all the plant life coming back out and about, a chance to learn about the environment directly from the source. That's what happened earlier on this week over at the Recreation Activity Center. 4th grade students from Scotch Elementary School had a chance to join in with Lauren Missouri and the other parks and naturalists over at West Bloomfield Parks to learn about watersheds, pollution, native species, and also some invasive species like garlic mustard. We saw some of the students holding up that garlic mustard as they were pulling some of that from the Recreation Activity Center site to put away. It's all tied to their science unit, all about environments, focusing on preservation, the Great Lakes, and eco-friendly yard maintenance, which is really important this time of the year. Cool stuff happening at West Bloomfield Parks.
Yeah, get on out there, touch the grass, touch the leaves, be one with nature. I like this. I like this looking at these pictures on CivicCenterTV.com. Kids getting out there, enjoying the weather, learning about nature too, different plants, what could be hazardous, what could not be hazardous, and things of that nature. So it's good to get the kids out there and getting them used to being touching trees and grass, because nowadays we know kids stay inside and play video games a lot more. So.
And a lot more of these educational opportunities are available through spring and summer programs and summer camps with West Bloomfield Parks. That can all be found on wbparks.org or on their Facebook page. And of course, you can see even more of these pictures from Scotch's 4th grade trip to the Recreation Activity Center on Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools. That's also where you'll find some information on an upcoming celebration of an historic school that is coming to the end of its run at the end of this school year. For over 100 years, Roosevelt Elementary has been serving students all throughout our communities, and there will be a special celebration commemorating the many years of its service in our community and its memories in our community coming up next week, Friday. Not this week, but a week from Friday at the current Roosevelt location, the former Abbott Middle School site where Roosevelt currently is. There'll be a celebration with people and programs that have made Roosevelt such an important part of our community. Plus, a memory book is being compiled with stories and photos from throughout the years. So come on by, share your memories, reminisce with the community that has built around Roosevelt well over a century here in the greater West Bloomfield area. More information on that can be found on Facebook at West Bloomfield Schools, and we'll, of course, have our coverage of that as well. So stay tuned here on the Splash Live and on CivicCenterTV.com for even more. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Just like that, a busy day knocks us out. We're done for the program today. For our entire team at Master Control, Calvin Brown, Anthony Juba, and Jake Schaff, alongside me and Kevin McIntosh, I'm Tyler Keefe. Thank you for tuning in to the Splash Live.